here we go with our final installment of the Hobbit series. Thankfully, it is finally over. I did not like this one. This was definitely my least favorite out of them all. And what about you?
The more the movie went on, the more I started to dislike it. Which usually is supposed to be the other way around. It's the more you watch it, the more you like it.
I definitely at 30-minute mark, I wanted this movie to be over. I just wanted it to stop. But no. Anyways, all right. This one starts out with
Bard's in prison. He breaks out of prison.
He breaks out of prison, but it's pretty much the death of Smaug. Smaug is flying around the city taunting the people, not burn it, as he just said he's death from the last movie. But he's too busy taunting them around. And Bard the bowman, he grabbed him with bow and arrows. He's gone to the bell tower, the tallest tower in this lake town. And Smaug just, I guess he likes to save the big towers for last or something. You would think he would go for it immediately, but does not.
The most advantageous spot for a archer that is the only way you can kill me. I'm going to save that for last.
Exactly. And so he uses his arrows. They bounce off of him because, of course, dragon scale. He's a dragon. His son thinks he needs his help, so his son grabs the black arrow, brings it up to him, and then at this point, Smaug goes, you know what? That tower's kind of in my way a little bit, so he gives it a little bump and knocks half of it down. But they're able to still stay on it, though. And Smaug is too busy. Now, this is where Smaug, he just starts trash talking. I think Smaug does a little too much talking for a dragon. I think he talks a little way too much for a dragon.
Honestly.
And
his worst weapon is shit talking, not fire. He'll bore you to death with shit talking and look how great I am.
Yeah, honestly. And so Bard uses his son as like some kind of contraption kind of deal to shoot the arrow.
Yeah, he breaks his arrow, has to build a makeshift one, uses his own son as a targeting system. He's like, "Don't worry, son, look at me. I'll shoot the arrow and kill the dragon." And
that's exactly what he does. He hits it in the one spot he needs it to do. Smaug goes up in the air flying. He's trying to breathe fire out, but he can't. Or he's just trying to breathe period, and he just can't. So he just croaks and dies.
First 10 minutes.
First 10 minutes. Could have saved me, I don't know, so many things. I just want to ignore that. Anyways, so that happens. Then we cut to the dwarf. They're at the mountain, and they're going to end because now the dragon's dead, and everyone's going to start coming towards the mountain now. And so they need to start preparing. And then we get cut to the orcs. They're making their way to the mountain and for the war, but they're going to surprise everybody because not everyone knows what they're up to. So the orcs are going to surprise them, and so that's where they're making their way to. And the pale orc has sent the dent head orc to what is the place called? Galdabog. Gundabad. So that's where he's sending them. So the dent one is going over there, and the pale orc is leading the other orcs to the mountain.
Yeah. So the pale orc's gonna take the first wave army, and then it's gonna be Mr. Denthead takes the badass orcs.
Yes.
For the second wave.
And so then we cut to the people of the lake town. They're getting their scraps. They're screaming because of what they just did. So they're trying to gather themselves up. The cartoonish villain is still alive. Not the main master, but the unibrow one. He's still alive. Why, I don't know. It was a very waste of just space. And every scene he was in, I really just didn't care for. I wanted it to end. And then, and so now everyone's, he's trying to side with Bard because he's a dragon slayer, and so he's calling him the master. Bard doesn't want the title. He's just trying to get his people together and get what they need and move on so they can go to Dale for shelter. And so then that goes to, then we cut to Gandalf. He is still trapped in his cage. Then an orc shows up, breaks the cage, and is, I guess, about to kill Gandalf when Lady G shows up. She shows up, and let me tell you, where was she this entire time? Because, oh my God.
She's honestly the only real wizard.
Honestly.
Or at least a wizard that I would respect in the Lord of the Rings. She starts out the fight with her best spell.
Honestly. She comes up, and this orc is he's running at her, and she just a little fist at him, and then like this whole
blast him away. No chance of him coming back.
Yeah, I mean he's not coming back. I mean this shield shows up, and I mean she just destroys it automatically. And then the other two show up. Who are the other two?
Elrond and Saruman.
Elrond and Saruman show up.
And Radagast.
And,
but he shows up a little bit later on.
Yeah, he shows up a little later. And then, Elrond and Saruman show up. They fight so many ends in this fucking movie. I can't stand it. Sauron's goons, ghost goons or whatever. How they're fighting them, I don't know. But it's Middle Earth, so I guess it's cool.
They're fighting them, and they're killing them. But they're not really killing them because they just kind of keep coming back.
Yeah, and so then, our favorite brown wizard shows back up.
Radagast shows up with his rabbits.
He shows up with his rabbits, and then he's like, Gandalf, get in. And Lady G's like, hurry, take him. He's losing his power. He's done. I don't know if he's dying, but he's losing his power. And I'm just like,
what do you think Radagast showed up for? He doesn't have any way to fight.
Like, he just came in to say hi real fast, and then he's like leaving. He's like, y'all could use my help, but no, I'm leaving. So anyway, so Gandalf gets on the thing. Radagast takes him away, and Sauron shows up, and he's threatening Lady G. You know, he's talking. I feel like every villain in the Lord of the Rings just has to talk mad shit to everyone. And I just feel like, get on with your plan, and you could be done with this already. But Sauron's talking mad shit to Lady G. She gets up.
She starts talking mad shit back.
She talks mad shit back. And she does not take any shit. And she banishes him off to wherever he goes to. And then, and then Elrond wants to go fight him. But Saruman's like, no, you need to get the lady back to wherever she needs to go because she needs to, like, power. She's losing her powers, too.
Yeah, she used her Banshee Wraith abilities to banish Sauron back to the... I'm pretty sure it's the old battlefield where he died, or maybe it was like the old mountain that turns into the volcano.
Yeah,
but she just banishes him back there.
And so that happens. So yeah, and then Elrond wants to take her. Elrond wants to go take on Sauron, but Saruman's like, no, I'll handle him. You take her to wherever she needs to go. And so then that happens, and then also while that's going on, Legolas and the baddie elf. She has she's got banished from the Elven Kingdom because the king is mad at her for whatever reason. I guess because she like escaped and went for the dwarfs or whatever. So she's banished. So her and Legolas go to Gundabad, and they're just doing recon. They're scouting out they're just scouting out to see what's going on there, and so they'll bring back the intel. And then we go back to the kingdom. Where Oakenshield, he has the dwarf looking for the Arkenstone. His main goal while he's in this kingdom is looking for the Arkenstone because he's gone mad with it.
Little does he know, Bilbo has it in his possession the whole time. So he has everybody looking for that. Then it cuts back to the Dale where the lake people are at, and turns out overnight the Elvish army they show up, and they're like, it's time for us to get back but what we deserve. Like, you have something that you want from the dwarves, we have something that we want, let's show up there, let's just go take it. But what's his name, Bard, he's like, no, let's try and do this a peaceful way. He shows up, he goes over to Thorin, and he's like, let's just you just give us what we need, and then we'll just call it even there. There doesn't have to be any war.
Yeah,
but
yeah, exactly. And so he's like, you gave us your word, you were going to give us treasure, now give it to us. And he's like, no, because y'all just wanted our wealth. And so he denies them, and he's like, he does like this little he does this little slide from the little hole he does. Like,
they're talking through a hole in the wall, and then he hears something he doesn't like, so he just slides out the way.
He slides to the left. I'm like, damn, all right, Thorin. And so he tells him no. So they go back, and the Elf King is not surprised. He's like, all they want is gold. You can't reason with them. So we're gonna go to war tomorrow. And so
while this is all happening, Gandalf shows up.
Yeah, Gandalf does show up, and
he says, "Y'all can't go to war right now. We have orcs that are coming over to kill everyone. Like, they want this position because they want to take over Middle Earth, and this is really good position."
This is a good position, and that any kind of orcs, not your ordinary run-of-the-mill day kind of orcs. These guys are bred for war. They are killers. They are gonna take whatever they want, and you're not gonna get in their way.
You can definitely tell the difference.
But also at this point, Bilbo shows up. He snuck away from the mountain or whatever. He's come to give the Arkenstone to the Elven King and Bard to use it as like a strategic thing to.
He wants to the trade. He wants to give the elves the Arkenstone so that they can trade it
for their Starlight necklace.
Yeah, the necklace and resources to help the Lake Town.
Yeah,
people,
the Lake Town people
to avoid war altogether.
Yeah, and so the next day they go and they try to reason with them. They show Thorin the Arkenstone. He doesn't believe it's the real one. He thinks it's a fake. And so he goes and he's like, but then Bilbo shows up back out the mountain and he's like, no, it's the real one. You've gone crazy. He's like, you're not the same Thorin we know that since before we got here. And so Thorin, he takes it as a betrayal. He tries to kill him. Gandalf's like, no, don't kill my burglar. So the other dwarfs get Bilbo from Thorin. They tell him to get out of here. So he climbs on a rope and... So then the elf is like, all right, do we have an exchange? Are we going to make exchange or do you want war? And he tells them, he hears something, a crow, or is it a raven? I think it's a raven.
Yeah, I think it's just a raven.
Yeah, a raven shows up and he's like...
he's like the messenger raven. I guess he sent one out earlier.
Yeah.
And he was sending them out to the Iron Dwarves, and he got the raven back.
He's just got in there and he's hearing noise and he's like, war. And here comes the more dwarfs from what are they called, the Iron Hill?
Like the Blue Hills, or maybe I'm getting that confused. It might be like the Iron Hills. Or
I think it's
like
the Iron Hill or something. And they show up and they're gonna fight. They're about to fight the elves. So they're gonna go. The elves and the dwarves are about to fight. Thorn is not gonna help his cousin though. He's gonna stay in his mountain. So it's just Thorn's cousin. The Hog Rider, I forget what his name is. Him and his hammer, and him and his couple thousand dwarves. I want to say 1,000. I don't know if that's right though. But they have a small amount compared to the elves, so I don't know how they thought they were going to kill the elves. But hey, that's what's going on.
It was definitely enough for them not to have to pan out that far to get the whole army on the screen. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Unlike the orcs, where they had to show like different like scenes or different like camera angles just to show all the amount of orcs. They could fit all the dwarves in just one flat out.
All the dwarves and all the elves in one shot. And the elves have a little bit more than the dwarves, but we'll see. But then right before their war happens, here comes some worms coming out of the earth, and here come the orcs. And man, there are so many orcs. There are just so many, and the dwarves are about to fight. The dwarves change their mind. I mean, they don't change their mind, but I guess they think the orcs are more of a...
They split... Here's the most ingenious thing they've done so far is they're like, we're going to fight the elves and the orcs at the same time. They split up half their army. They send half the army to go fight the orcs, and then they hold position on the
elves.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so the dwarves, they put their little shield down, they made their little barrier or whatever, and so here come the orcs running on them, and then boom! The elves are jumping over the dwarves. They're helping the dwarves. So now the dwarves and the elves are teaming up against the orcs. And there are so
far,
many.
3 armies.
3 armies. And that's about it. Because I don't know who the other 2 are. I guess you could say the humans, but there are not a lot.
Peasants and farmers, like not even fishermen.
Yeah, I mean, they're I don't know. And so I was like, you really can't call them an army. And so, because they're teaming up with the elves. So, I mean, and there's more elves than there are humans. So, at this point, these are the only armies who fight each other. And so they're fine. And then, meanwhile, Thorin, he's still crazy. His dwarf people are mad at him because they need to go help their cousin. But he doesn't want to go out there fight because he wants the Arkenstone. He's trying to protect the gold. He wants to protect the gold at all costs. And then
he has like a little argument with one of the other dwarves.
Yeah.
And he says like, "Oh, I want you to leave my sight, or I'm gonna kill you." And then he goes off to the place where they tried to like submerge the dragon in gold, which I mean they submerged him, it just didn't do anything.
Yeah.
He sees this giant like pool of now like not frozen but not melted gold. And he has his little crazy fit where he turns back normal. He's like, I guess this is all I needed. I needed 2 people to break the dragon sickness.
Yeah, exactly. And so then he comes back. He's walking down the hallway with like this light behind him, like he's a badass. And then this other dwarf, he's like, I will not stand by and have other fight our battle for us. And then Thorn's like,
you're right.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, maybe we should. And
you're right. You're right.
And he's just like, all right, let's go battle. And then this guy's thinking like, damn, all we had to do is scream at him. But really, while they're up here talking about the speech they're about to give Thorn's like, he's going crazy and then going back to normal. I don't know. He's going in this two-faced mode, I guess. And so then the baddie elf and Legolas, they come back. They tell him of the orcs that are coming, from Gundabad or whatever. But then she hears that her bae, Killy, I think that was the dwarf's name.
Killy or Philly?
I think Philly was the other brother. I think it was Killy she liked.
Yeah.
She's got word that Killy has gone up with Oakenshield to go and take down the Pale Orc. And so
they want to kill their commander because they think only one army's coming. They kill the commander. That'll spread them out. Like,
yeah,
it'll disorient them.
Yeah, I guess they'll be like, oh, our captain's dead. Now we don't know what to do. And so, but they're orcs. I feel like they would just keep on going.
Keep doing the thing they're doing.
Yeah,
killing.
And so, I mean, barely killing though. But yeah, and
getting killed.
and so yeah, they're going. So she hears that, and every time she comes around, I feel like she only hears this dwarf's name because she's just always like, "Where's my bae at?" And so then she goes. So she's going up there with to the mountain to.
And Bilbo is also. He's decided he's gonna go. He's using the ring of power to turn invisible to go and tell everyone because the elf army has decided, hey, we've had enough. We've lost too many people. Like the king's like looking around. He's like, oh man. Almost my entire army is dead. That's not what they showed on the screen. Like, maybe 3 elves died the entirety of, like, what they've been showing on screen. But he decides, I gotta take everybody back home. So I'm not gonna go tell, the Thorin and Philly and Killy that, there's a second wave coming, y'all are about to get killed.
Yeah, and so Bilbo has to go up there and warn him with the ring or whatever. He gets up there and he's like, there's more orcs coming or whatever. And then Thorn's like, oh, it's a trap. Because they've all splitting up. There's Thorn and a dwarf, and then the 2 brothers. They've also splitting up somewhere. And so Thorn's like, get the brothers, and we're gonna get out of here. It's a trap. Well, it's too late now. One of the other brothers got captured. The Pale Orc finds him, kills him in front of and Thorn in front of everybody, and then the other brother, he gets mad, so he runs up there to try to kill the Pale Orc or whatever for killing his brother. He gets interrupted by he's fighting the orc, and then the baddie elf shows up. She starts fighting the dent head orc or whatever.
Yeah,
and they're fine, but she keeps screaming his name, and I'm like, stop screaming his name, y'all. You're gonna distract her. But she keeps screaming his name. Well, anyways, she's finding the dent head, and then he goes, and he's like, and right before the dent head's about to kill her or whatever, Killy jumps down, stops him, and then, but eventually the dent head orc finally does something. And
he like takes his like mace and like stabs him with the pointy end.
Yeah,
killing him right in front of her.
Yeah, exactly. So he stabs him, and then like she like gets up and like grabs him and like they go off the mount together, and
that's when Legolas finally runs out of his infinite number of arrows.
Yeah. Well, she's falling down this mountain. You think she's got a concussion or a broken back. But
she's hit her back hard, like 2 times.
Yeah, even before this fall. So she falls down this mountain or whatever. And so, yeah, so Legolas is helping Oakenshield fight off some of the other... The orcs that were bred for war. And they are getting killed by Bilbo with rocks.
Yeah, he's throwing rocks. He's immediately murdering them.
Yeah, immediately murdering them. So I'm like... And these were the ones that were bred for war. And so Legolas is fighting. While that's going on, Legolas is helping Oakenshield fight off these orcs with bow and arrow, with his arrows. He's just fucking shooting them. And yeah, eventually, finally, he has run out of arrows. He just the last orc that's about to kill the baddie elf. He's like, oh damn, what do I do? He's like, I ain't got no more arrows. So he jumps on him, and then the Denthead and Legolas, they finally get their epic battle.
Feels like
forever.
Hours.
It feels like forever. It just ends with Legolas climbing up. There's a sequence where like they're on this little tower thing.
It's like falling over. It's made like sort of like a bridge.
Yeah, it made like a little bridge thing, and like it's falling apart. And the Denthead orc slams Legolas in there, and so it's falling apart. He's climbing up the rocks while it's falling apart, and
completely denying physics. But I guess elves, they can do that.
They're quick on their feet, and so and so then he kills the Denthead elf, and Oakenshield is about to die, and he throws his sword into the chest that's about to kill. Legolas throws his sword into the orc that's about to kill Oakenshield. That gives Oakenshield a sword. Now Azog, the pale orc, and Oakenshield can finally have their battle, and it was an underwhelming battle as this whole movie was.
Somehow I don't even remember how the pale orc gets a flail.
Yeah, I don't remember that. He didn't have that earlier. Yeah, he just got it.
Honestly, maybe not the best thing to do either, because while he's flinging this flail around, he looks so like it's a foreign weapon to him. Like he's got like a confused face the whole time. He's swinging this mace. I think he hits Thorin like once, but all the other times are just straight misses. Crashing into the ice, breaking it apart.
And so then he breaks the ice, and then He breaks the ice, but then his mace, his little flail gets caught in the ice, and so Oakenshield picks it up, throws it at him, and then he sinks into the water. And while he's so you can see him as he's flowing away under the ice, and Oakenshield instead of going to help anyone else, he's decided that he's gonna walk with the pale orc while he's
watching him float by. It's on a big waterfall. All the water's running towards the waterfall. He wants to watch him go down the waterfall.
And, of course, if you haven't guessed it by now, the pale orc wakes back up, stabs him in the foot, and then is about to stab him, but Oakenshield's blocking it. But he decides that the only way he's going to be able to get a good kill shot is if he takes a stab, and then he's going to be able to stab him. And that's exactly what he does. He moves his sword, he gets stabbed in the chest, and then he stabs the orc right in his heart or whatever the orcs have. And then he kills the pale orc. And then Bilbo has been unconscious for a while. He got knocked out by one of the orcs when he was throwing the rocks.
He hit his head hard on a rock.
And I don't know how he's still alive, but he is. But yeah, so then he wakes up, he runs to Thorin, starts crying, which I don't know why, because Thorin has kind of treated you like shit this entire time.
Yeah, all he's done is just talk shit.
Yeah, and
every time Bilbo's gone, he just starts on his rant about how shit Bilbo is.
And so he does that, and then he starts crying. Thorin's dead. So pretty much all the dwarfs that were main ones are pretty much dead. So all the other dwarfs they show
just
from
unnamed.
all the other dwarves that they show up from here on out for the rest of this movie, I don't remember who they were. I don't remember any of these dwarves.
There's a dwarf with a piece of a pickaxe or some kind of tool sticking out of his forehead. I don't remember that. Not one bit.
And so then Legolas, he leaves. He says he's not going back to the Elven Kingdom. The Elf King sends him to
he sends him to Bree, I think. He has to go get Aragorn, the king that's going to be in the Lord of the Rings. Okay. It's basically setting up for the first Lord of the Rings.
Okay. So that's what he does. So Legolas leaves. Then he goes and finds the baddie elf. She's crying with the GQ dwarf in her arms. She's like, is this what love is? I don't want it. Take it. He's like, what? She's like, why does it hurt? He's like, because it was real. But go back 10 minutes ago. She's like, you don't know love. And he's like, what? You think you know love? You don't know.
It wasn't real.
Yeah, it wasn't real with this dwarf. I'm like, all right, now it's real because he's dead. And so that happened. And then we go to Bilbo and Gandalf just sitting on there for a while. Missed opportunity to call for Gandalf to call Bilbo a fool, because Bilbo is not really talking to anybody. He hasn't called anyone a name in a while. And I was like, oh damn, just like a little "You're such a fool, Bilbo," or just something that Gandalf would say.
He does say fool later on, but he's like, "I'm not a fool."
Yeah, and so he does that. And so it's just Bilbo and Gandalf just smoking a pipe, and then they cut to Bilbo leaving the dwarves. He's crying, he's sad and everything. And then, as per usual, as soon as he's about to say goodbye, he tells the old dwarf, he's like, "You tell him goodbye for me." He's like, "You can tell him yourself." And they're always lined up with each other. They're always lined up. You turn around, and they're just lined up with each other, neck to neck and shoulder to shoulder.
First, we forgot to say the whole army was pretty much defeated last second. The Radagast shows up with his eagles.
Oh, yes.
He shows up with his eagles. He shows up with Beorn, and they pretty much they clean up what's left.
Yeah, they clean up
basically an entire army.
And so that happens, and so then Bilbo leaves. He's going back with Gandalf to the Shire, and turns out that Gandalf knows that Bilbo had this ring or whatever I guess he doesn't know what ring it is. I guess he learns it in the Lord of the Rings, I guess. I don't know, but
I think he's got like an idea of what ring it could be, but he doesn't know what to do with it yet. He doesn't know, you got to put the ring in fire to read the inscription. I think he's going off to like a library or something to. He has to go do what Gandalf does best: do research and not use spells.
Gandalf does not use a single spell in this entire war.
You're right, he doesn't.
This entire battle.
He doesn't even use a sword.
No, he don't do it. He just uses a staff. He just gives everyone a staff. So I'm like, all right. But yeah, so, it turns out Gandalf knew he had the ring. I mean, even if he's doing research, Bilbo, give me the ring. Like, you don't know what kind of... You know that the ring has powers to it. Give it... If it's nothing, okay, give it back to him if you want to give it back to him. But at least take it to do research for it.
Yeah, at least, show him the ring.
Yeah, exactly.
But Bilbo says, I dropped it, yeah.
But even he says that, but then he turns around and then Gandalf makes that...
Smug.
Yeah, he's like, "I know you're lying to me." And I'm like, "Gandalf, what are we doing?" And so then we go to the Shire. They're auctioning off Bilbo's things because they think he's dead. He shows them, he gives them the contract to show that he's not dead, and then so they know it's him, which is stupid, but it is what it is. Then we go to his house.
Basically, it's like back to present.
Yeah,
it's back to old Bilbo.
Yeah, we cut to old Bilbo. We get a knock on the door. He still has the ring. He's messing with the ring. Then we get a knock on the door. It's Gandalf, and he's like, "Gandalf, my old friend," and then hasn't visited him in forever. Like, what kind of friend is Gandalf? And then he opens the door, and he's like, "Oh, Gandalf." He's like, "Oh," and then we get the camera angle of the mountain and the trip he was on. I guess you can call it the unexpected journey he was on. And then that ends, thankfully, and God.
And then at that point, that's where it picks up for the Lord of the Rings one. It's like his birthday or whatever, and that's where Bilbo makes his big escape.
Oh.
Gandalf figures out what the ring actually is.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just bringing you up to speed, basically.
Okay. But yeah, so that was The Hobbit, the battle of the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10.
Who knows how many armies?
How many armies? You just pick a number, that's how many armies there were. But yeah. Did not like this one. I could not care about this one. This one was so hard to talk about.
I'm so glad it was only 2 hours and 20 minutes.
I couldn't do two. I can't do the extended version. What is the? I just kind of want to watch the extended version just to see what they add, because
probably more stuff at the ending, like more. I don't even know, more setting up shit. But
yeah, but that was the Hobbit, the battle of. Yeah, how many armies you want, because God, this was absolutely terrible and I could not stand it, and I'm kind of done talking about it. But yeah, so that's it for this one. We'll catch you on our next series that we're going to do. Which one is that? We do not know yet, but we'll see you then.
All right, see you.